So my name is Trevor Foster, and this is my first exhibition in Thailand. I've lived here for the last 8 years, and I've been creating art since I can remember. This is the first time where all of my work is in one place, and I'm really excited to show it off and be here in Bangkok. I've had a studio in Chiang Mai the last 8 years where I've created mainly ceramics, and I've had the chance to travel around the world and learn various techniques. I've gone to Japan and Nepal and China and the US and Portugal to pick up various things and work with different artisans and craftsmen, and I'm here to display some of the stories that I've picked up along the way. Each one of the pieces has a kind of special connection to either a craftsman or a place or a period in time, and I've brought them all together, and I'm hoping that when they're all in one place it can kind of transcend time. For me, my background in Thailand, I first started coming here when I was 9 months old. My parents were antique dealers, and they would collect things and travel around in the early 90s in Thailand at first, and then in Myanmar and Cambodia. And they would go around collecting individual items, special things that they found, kind of without any rhyme or reason. They'd collect just whatever they thought was beautiful, whatever was interesting, and they would fill their bags up with all these beautiful things and bring it back to the US and then display it. And what I'm doing here is something very similar, going around working with craftsmen. I worked with OTOP the last 2 years to work with local crafts and work with the tribes in northern Thailand. So this is very much to me like a experience of exploration, of traveling around and finding different things and then taking them all in one place and showing it a year later. So I hope that you can be as engaged with this stuff as I have been. It's been a really great journey, and I'm happy to finally display it. So this exhibition has a lot of different material. My primary material is ceramic, but I've worked in wood and printmaking and textiles and different antiques that I've collected and then find ways to enhance or add something to or continue the story on. So the screen behind me, for instance, is a Meiji period Japanese screen that was heavily damaged. It had different areas and different spots on it which distracted from the aesthetic. So instead of it just being lost to time, I went back in and highlighted the areas and painted on that to create a totally new work. So it's a new way to perceive something that was old, that was on the verge of being forgotten, and then I've reworked it and made it into a sort of contemporary art object. So my primary material is ceramic. I studied ceramic at the university in the US, and I've studied ceramic in Thailand and in China and Japan, Portugal, and I'm very connected to the material. The title of this exhibition is Vessel of Desire, and Vessel of Desire is related to ceramic. So the vessel is something that's typically made of ceramic, and a lot of the work that I've done is exploring art forms that are close to being lost. So by looking at things that are close to being lost, I think that they're all within that vessel. And one thing about ceramics is it's very susceptible to damage. If it falls over, it never is quite the same again. So that was the kind of metaphor that I was playing with when I created this show, was that if these crafts are lost and if these art forms are lost, if they fall down, you can try to reconstruct them, but they'll never be quite the same again. So that was the kind of glue that holds this show together. Okay, that was a little bit what I was talking about. Maybe I'll talk about the same, but with the Bencharong. So one of the main pieces in this show are these Bencharong skulls that I've displayed. I was fortunate enough to travel around Thailand. I went to Nakhon Pathom and Ayutthaya and Chiang Mai and worked with local Bencharong masters. And one thing I noticed about these Bencharong masters is they were all over 65. All of the people who could really paint well were quite old. So it's something that's on the verge of being lost. I think that after this generation is gone, it probably won't be maintained, at least not to the same standard that it is now. So by meeting these guys and seeing this Bencharong work, it really gave me a respect for the craft, which is very laborious and very intense. And it also, by being a ceramic artist, I was able to connect with the local artists. My Thai is not so good and their English is not so good, but we both spoke the same language of ceramic and spoke the same language of pattern. And so art allowed me to sort of transcend the language and connect to people, I think, on a deeper level than even if we could speak the same language. So that was something that I was really excited about with this show. And I was really fortunate enough to work with some really amazing craftsmen and work alongside. I was hands-on on every piece in this show, but I had a lot of help. I had a lot of teachers along the way.